The Freedom Convoy began when a group of truckers from across Canada planned a demonstration on Parliament Hill. They rallied to protest the mandates which made it necessary for them to be vaccinated when crossing the American border back into Canada. As of January 15th, Canadian truckers required vaccination. Prior to this, truckers were not required to show proof of vaccine and would easily cross the border for the seamless transportation of goods. The protest evolved from an issue with the vaccine mandate to an issue with the COVID-19 health measures altogether that the government was putting into place for the past 2 years. The convoy witnessed thousands of demonstrators who took to camping around the Parliament buildings for a duration of approximately 3 weeks. The protests gradually escalated in terms of civil unrest and hostility as protesters and local police clashed in the downtown Ottawa streets. Despite the Prime Minister's firm stance to keep the mandates in place, protests persisted, and when imposed penalties such as horn honking, fines, and eventually frozen bank accounts were not deterring demonstrators, the municipal, provincial, and federal police all became involved, and the Emergencies Act was enacted for the first time in Canadian history. Canadian police assertively encircled protesters, made arrests, and blocked off downtown streets, barring protesters from coming back. Soon thereafter, disrupted businesses started to resume operations and downtown traffic was finally free from an almost 1-month-long gridlock. Although the majority of Canadian truckers were actually against such protests, the Ottawa protests were a huge wake-up call for the Canadian government. It exposed the true division in Canada when it came to vaccine mandates. Most Canadians believed that it was not safe to lift restrictions and mandates. They felt that protesters were acting selfishly and were not thinking of those who were suffering from the COVID-19 virus. However, a minority of Canadians did support the protests. They felt they had a legitimate reason to voice their opinions. We had a chance to speak with some demonstrators to understand their point of view.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, you can just maybe give us a little bit of how the pandemic has affected you and why you're here, and maybe talk us through your thought process.
Well, for sure, yeah. Like initially, like the main reason, right? There's selfish reasons, right? And then there's also the real reason, right? The real reason, obviously, why I'm here would be because I want the betterment for all Canadian, future generations of Canadians, right? So like that'd be like my children, your children, grandchildren, all that.
Of course.
We want to have, a free Canada for everyone. And the way things are going with, the way the government is, and like I said, I'm not going to get into politics and stuff, but things are going in a direction where they're slowly closing a grip, on society inside Canada, around the world for the most part, right? All the globalist kind of movements and stuff like that. And it seems like we're slowly getting things taken away. They'll take stuff away, and then they'll give it back just to take it away again, but take it away more, right? And
that's right.
So slowly you kind of just get used to that being normal, right? And over time, you don't even realize that things are getting taken away from you, right? So I've kind of seen this pattern going, not just recently, but over the last few years.
Hi everyone, it's Issa from Milo, Canada. We wanted to send a message that even though the preceding events displayed unrest amongst a group of Canadians, the fact that we are all in this together, friends at school or at work, may not agree with what you think is correct. But when it comes to health and well-being, we cannot achieve a better world to live in if we are fighting with each other, such as your friends and neighbors. The only way to have a better world for ourselves and our future generations is if we work together. So please, do not hate other people for what they think is right. Do not attack them for being associated with a group that you do not like. Instead, let's listen and understand each other. And let us work together to build a brighter, happier, and healthier future for everybody. On behalf of the Milo team, thank you for listening.